Hello viewers, I'm SB and welcome back to Nowhere Profit, where today we're trying Doomed again. We're going to give it another go here, but with a slightly different strategy. Check this out. We unlocked the tower. I unlocked the tower. I guess it really wasn't we, because I did it off camera by myself. I was figuring that we just weren't going to be able to get there with the Blast convoy. As much as I think that the Blast stuff is really cool, and I think that Demolitions Expert guy is a super fun card, randomly going second sometimes doesn't have any effect at all, right? Sometimes you go second and it's fine, but sometimes because you're behind an entire turn for the entirety of the game, you just lose tons of health or lose tons of followers that you would have held on to otherwise. It's a big detriment. So I was playing with the other convoys, trying to level them up a little bit, and I wandered into the Grim Ribbon event. To remind y'all, in case you don't remember, the clue for unlocking the tower... Oh, I guess you can't see the clue anymore. But the clue said, listen to the tales of the Grim Ribbon. I encountered a bunch of people out on the road who were just like, hey, the Grim Ribbon is at our town and it's a bad time. And so I went there and you have to engage in combat with him, but then not kill him in combat. He asked if he could surrender, and I was like, well, the clue says listen to his tales, not murder his entire face off. So I accepted his surrender, and then, we went through a bunch of stuff. But I did manage to unlock him. And then, looking at his cards, he's very healing and toughness focused. He has Challenge, which is a fun card. He has Guard, which is kind of garbage, but, whatever. And then he has, Healing and Armor Yourself and Draw a Card, which is definitely better than... I don't know if it's definitely better than Guard, right? I shouldn't overstate how bad Guard is, but, cards that do nothing but gain you life, which is effectively what Armor Gain does, just don't have very much impact on the game, right? You should not be playing cards to not lose. You need to be playing cards to win. With Secure, at least you're replacing the card you lost, but when you draw a Guard, you've effectively not drawn a card most of the time, in terms of your cards being used to make you win the encounter. He also starts the game with a refresh, which is awesome, and so I'm looking at this and thinking, okay, so this is a toughness kind of thing. We should try to play a convoy that has tougher guys in it, maybe more guys with taunt if we can. And so I think what we're going to be doing here is playing the Explorers. The Explorers weren't maxed out, so I went and did another game to max them out, and in that game I ran into the Grim Ribbon event again. So I think what I'm learning is that the secret to finding the random events to unlock stuff is to play off camera. It's if you guys are watching, it's too nervous to show me the options. So that's our deal today. Today we're playing as a much more toughness and survivability based convoy. It's been a little while since we played with the Explorers on camera, I think. So, in case people don't remember, you get a couple of devoted guards, you get an explorer to start off with. I like explorer quite a bit. The mendicant is totally fine. He's probably going to get himself killed, taking advantage of his fury effect. I'm a big fan of Union Sapper, of course. Worker Swarm is great. You get to start with the Blockade, which is sometimes a phenomenal card. And yeah, it's just a lot of guys who are really tough, a pair of Scavenger Savants. Yeah, we're going to be strong. 10 Scholar Points at the beginning of the run. Every time we dismantle an item, we get some batteries. And if you have 6 energy cells at the start of your turn, you get to bring back a leader card from your discard pile. This only works if you have exactly 6, not at least 6. So in most battles, this will fire once, but even firing just once, this is a very powerful effect. And if we ended up with some of that stuff that's lose some energy cells but refill all your energy, we could potentially force this to happen more than once. I don't know that we would actually want to do that, but it's at least an option. So, 40 starting batteries, 60 food, 75 hope. It's a good pack of starting resources. We have an easier way of getting batteries than usual, but we might have more resource trouble with this convoy than we did with the last one because we don't have free hope. I don't know. We're gonna figure it out. I didn't finish the last run, obviously, because I got to enough stuff done to unlock the last perk, and I was like, well, it's probably time to record the episode then. Okay, so we know the deal. We have a good sense of what we need to do, we just need to modulate a little bit. Dome City. Oh, this is probably the children event. Well, we don't need to do it to unlock that leader anymore, but I wonder if it would still be good. My memory is that it actually yielded quite a lot of loot. Yeah, let's head in that direction. And I can at the very least, I can capture it on camera so that people can see what it is and what you need to do to unlock the guy, in case you also would like to unlock him. We're going to learn from our past experiences and hire the guides, because we are smart sometimes. And I think I'm going to not veer off to go through this. I mean, we still have the option of going through the recruit node if we want. You will answer for your sins and the desolation you have brought upon this world. Hey, I did not personally desolate any of the world, buddy. Okay, so I went and read through a bunch of the comments on the episodes where I had asked for feedback about Doomed, and the one thing, I saw a couple of things repeatedly. The thing that really stuck out to me, that I saw a lot of people saying was, hey, go ahead and play, you should just play your workers. They're not doing you any good sitting in your convoy, and like you're too afraid of losing cards. First of all, they are doing something sitting in our convoy, right? Because if we get to 50 people in our convoy, we gain access to a whole bunch of options and a whole bunch of events that just yield extra free stuff. Like, I think hitting that 50-person threshold is actually really valuable. And secondly, while I am, broadly speaking, pretty afraid of losing cards because I really want to get to the 50-person convoy thing, I'm not playing the workers because I'm afraid of losing a bad guy. I'm not playing the workers because they're bad cards. Like, you only get a certain number of draws per game, right? So you want to maximize the effectiveness of each of your draws. Obviously, you can't just play all 7 drops because that's not actually maximizing the effectiveness of your cards. You have a bunch of cards in your hand that are dead a bunch of the time. So you have the, listen, I'm not going to write a treatise extemporaneously about the importance of the mana curve or anything. But I'm not playing Worker because Worker's basically a dead card. Like, you play him, what's maximum upside on Worker? You play the Worker, you get 1 armor, which is effectively, it heals you for 1, and then he trades with a guy who has 1 health, right? And that's not a bad situation. That's totally worth 1 energy and a card. Like, I play Quick Shot. My problem with Worker is that a lot of the time, the average value of a worker is he's going to come into play, he's going to reduce the amount of damage you take by 1, and then he's not going to have any further effect. They're not going to bother attacking him because he doesn't matter. They're just going to keep going to your face. And he's not going to have the opportunity to actually trade with a guy because he does 1 damage. It's possible that I'm underestimating him, that he works out to be a little bit better than my expected value of him often enough that I should be playing him, but I don't think so. We're gonna cut down here. Like, we want our deck to be consistent, right? We want to cut down some of these cards. I don't want to go into combat with 20 cards in my deck if I don't have to, broadly speaking. Crashjacker is like fine. I'd rather be playing the Crashjackers than the Raiders, as long as I can keep a reasonable group of 5s or 3s, which I think we have. So let's just go ahead and roll it like this. It still might be better to cut a couple more cards from this deck. Just to increase our consistency. Consistency is important. I don't think I want to start with the guard. I think Refresh is just, like, phenomenal. What an extremely good card. Alright, we're going to establish this Worker Swarm right away, because you can get a lot of cards out of the enemy's hand with a robust guy. Interesting that he's playing the Initiate there. We assume he'll have a Pull or something, right? Okay, that's... So why play your 2-3 here instead of there? Well, that doesn't really make a lot of sense. I think our play is just... It's actually interesting, right? We have a couple of options here. I think I kind of want to save the Mind Seize until we're in more dire straits. Or rather, until he plays more guys, so that we can get a larger trade-off on it. I think we're just going to move you back to the front and then refresh you and have you kill the 3-2. And if he has 2 more kill cards for my Worker Swarm, then that's not great, but it's also not terrible to burn that much stuff. Or we could just stick the Crashjacker. Obviously, the concern there is that he can potentially hit us for 5, because he probably still has the pull. Yeah, I'm gonna do the refresh and hit here. Remember, we have the ability to see that refresh again. We have not necessarily just spent it. And then we'll bolster now. And the reason we bolster now instead of bolstering pre-attack is that this means our guy has 2 toughness. If we had done it the other way around, he would have been taken down to 1. And his power was already sufficient. It might matter in case they have, like, scratch or quick shot. Okay, knockout's pretty good. And then if he does, in fact, have a polar push effect here, then he can get a kill. And if not, we're running back to the front for sure. Okay. Is this Mind Seize time? He's very low on cards. I think this is an okay. Oh, but our guy is stunned, right? So we can't even move him forward. Well, that being the case, maybe we just stick the Scavenger, or what do I have left in my deck? We could scrap the Stim Shot. Stim Shot's not super relevant in this position. I mean, if we could top deck Challenge, that would be pretty strong. I don't think we need the Stim Shot right now. Let's get rid of that. Okay, so just a shot. I mean, that's fine. It reduces our incoming damage by a little bit. I don't really want to take 5 here. Alright, let's go ahead and develop our board. We'll just play the Scavenger Savant in front of the Robot Swarm. He does have the ability to just trade guys onto us until this works, if he has any buffs or damage at all. But if he does that, he's spending an awful lot of cards to do that thing, and I think we have to just accept that. Like, this is not a terrible outcome for us, right? He just 3-for-1'd himself and completely removed all of his tempo. I think this works out for us just fine. And then shot can kill that guy, and we, I think, want to pull our refresh. Right? So now we have a pretty easy kill here. Pretty easy set of kills. We can do these shenanigans again, and then we have massive control of this game, and he is in a real bad spot. And so we have the option of playing the guard or just scrapping it to get a little deeper into our deck. I mean, getting ourselves 4 armor here might end up not even mattering, right? Like it may well be the case that the enemy never gets to damage us. I'll do that. I'm fine with giving that guy 4 power. I think that's way better than guard would have been. Oh, I never finished what I was saying earlier. A couple of things that jumped out to me a bunch of times during people's comments. One of them was that thing about the workers. Another one was people being weirdly rude, which, you know, most of you weren't, and thank you, but some of you maybe need to learn how to interact with human beings. And the last one is, nobody said they'd beaten Doomed at all. There were several people who said they had gotten progress, there was some, like, I got to the crypt, but nobody actually said they had won, as far as I saw, which makes me think that maybe I'm right, and maybe it is balanced in such a way that victory is not necessarily possible, which obviously is a bummer. So we have an interesting choice here. Now that our worker swarm is no longer robust, Mind Seize actually kills it rather than pushing it back a space. But Mind Seize also leaves him with no creatures on the table, and we could do, like, Mind Seize into empty board Crashjacker. Or we could just play Crashjacker in front of Robot Man, like hide Robot Man behind some rocks, in the hopes that he will not get murdered. And then I'm potentially taking a lot of damage that way, which obviously is not ideal. I think we're just going to accept the Mind Seize trade and, like, maybe pull that guy from the deck for a while. Because, like, this puts us in such a strong position. Now he's playing off the top of the deck and a full turn behind, while we are playing guys who have 5 power. Show me something. You know what? Actually, Restore's not bad here. Keeper was a really good draw. I think we go to our opponent's face, play the Keeper, not in the same column, and then Yeah, Restore's not terrible. Or we could just play a creature behind the Crashjacker. Or even up here, but like punching through this amount of garbage is going to take quite a while. If we were to scrap Restore, odds are... I mean, we could draw a shot, and a shot and Static Charge are both pretty relevant, actually. Yeah, let's scrap this. Show me something... Okay, so we'll just pop that guy. And that looks like we've won. I think we'll take the Blessing here if we... provided we actually have the choice. We do. Because I think I've talked enough, probably at this point, about how much I am not super fond of guys who have 4 toughness who cost more than 3. It's just too easy for them to die in really trivial ways. So there's a point at which we're going to want to stop playing these Crashjackers. Right now, we just kind of need damage. The downside of playing into the strategy we're playing into is that we have a lot of guys who are kind of expensive and have like 2 and 3 attack. So obviously Crashjacker is playing an important role in our deck now, but we would hope to pull some guys who are a little bit better at the thing. I think we can probably run 14 cards for the next combat. Let's go to the Dome City. And we'll see where this node leaves. It may be the case that we double back. So yeah, this is where the Children event is. Our scouts reported that we were near a much larger structure than marked on our map. We drove our vehicles right up to it and gazed at a group of large interconnected geodesic domes. There was a breathtaking amount of plant life growing both around and inside the buildings. A seemingly sturdy tower stood in the middle of the complex. So, what I did last time to unlock the... Please stop glowing at me, it's very distracting. To unlock the Children was ignore the domes at first. The domes are full of plant life, and you can try to harvest it, but, as we will find out in just a moment here, they're also booby-trapped. This was just dumb luck, me deciding to go to the tower first. We pushed through the undergrowth toward the central tower. Behind a door, quickly opened with some force, was a larger chamber. The plants had claimed this place too, but in the far wall we could see an open elevator shaft leading up. Chelapen pointed to a corner of the room. Look, a shrine for the tender. Incense and food offerings were laid at the feet of a mural of the goddess. So the clue is that you have to make friends with the Children, right? So I figured they leave food for the goddess, we leave food for the goddess. I don't know if you have to leave the large offering. I did, and it worked, so I think we're going to go ahead and leave a large offering, because if this goes the way it went for me off camera, I'm pretty sure we're going to end up taking home a lot more food than we lost here. Also, believer points. I believe we're the convoy that... Is this the convoy that can't have believer points? Yeah, okay. Alright, we took some handfuls of the fresher food and water from our stores and placed them at the goddess's feet. Chelapen led us in a short prayer. And then we investigate the elevator. The floors were labeled Specimen Analysis, Laboratory, and other complicated names. The elevator shaft itself was a black chasm leading straight up. At the very top there was a hint of light that quickly vanished as we looked up. There were handholds here, worn and used, but no trace of people. The entire place looked rickety and dangerous. Of course, you have to hit the climb upwards on this. The way up was tricky, but easier than we first assumed. What at first seemed to be rust and damage turned out to be just paint and scratches. Still, at one point Penmully was almost hit by a heavy stone trap designed to knock intruders back down the shaft. Hooray for almost. We reached a handhold halfway up the shaft where we could see light near the top. An elevator door was wedged open, but stood covered with planks of wood to largely block light from reaching the chasm. We shoved the planks aside and entered another large chamber. Warm light flooded the room through tinted windows, and all kinds of furniture were rearranged to separate the room into smaller spaces. Bits and pieces of plants were strewn everywhere. Everything seemed cramped and haphazard, but there was a hint of movement. Obviously, if we're here to make friends, we mean you no harm, let's make that clear. My call was quickly swallowed by the room. We weren't sure if some heard us and were about to move on, deeper into the complex, when a shaky voice answered. We don't bad. You outsider. You bad. Leave. So I think you could probably hit this and have a chance of convincing them, or if you left the blessing, you get this option. I don't know if this might be available if you do the smaller blessing too. Like I said, I haven't tried it. Or it looks like if you showed up with enough altruist points, you wouldn't actually have to leave the food. But we say bad people don't give to the gods. It took a few more calming phrases, but eventually the wild bunch of inhabitants appeared. They'd been living here in isolation for a long time. Though they barely spoke, we learned that run-ins with bandits or raiders had scared them. Without the skills or weapons to defend themselves, they had resorted to traps to keep the evil outsiders away. And they had discouraged anyone from trying their luck in the tower. It was no wonder. The bounty of food up here was a major prize to anyone. Nonetheless, they were willing to talk to us. So, hey, do you want to join us? No, we safe here, came the brief reply. Okay, that's fair. I don't really have a use for a bunch of children anyway. I just thought I'd ask. Do you have anything to trade? Yes, and the small figure vanished in the room, reappearing with heaps of useful items. Here, you take, you leave. So, 24 batteries worth of junk and also quite a lot of luxuries. That's pretty great. I don't know what would have happened if we had asked about the food instead. I mean, I assume we would have gotten some food. That's what you saw there was me taking the exact same path of options that I took the first time, and doing that did unlock the children, or did unlock the seer, or the spider, whichever guy it was that unlocks with this. We can go into the domes. If we attempt to harvest the plants, traps. The children did not disable the traps. If I press this button, we will get trapped on, so we're just gonna not do that and leave. I'm pretty happy with this, except, of course, that there's a danger we're going to starve now. But if we can get to a market with the extra batteries we just earned, we should be fine. So let's just press forward, or we could double back. We do have enough food to make it to the food node. Yeah, maybe we double back through the double food nodes and, like... This is the first map, right? We should try to get strong here. Okay, we got some monks. Yeah, sure, come and share. 2 scholar points, 3 altruist points is pretty good. Let us give you something in exchange for the food you served us. A few batteries, maybe? I accept your batteries. The old monk sent one of her guards out to fetch the batteries. The butte-armored giant returned with a large crate disguised as a water container. The monk muttered a brief prayer of thanks to the machine and removed a handful of batteries. We're not going to give them shit. We're just going to accept the batteries. I'm assuming if you actually succeeded those other options, you probably get a lot more batteries, but you probably also lose some, some altruist points, at the very least. Also, probably a fight occurs, and fights are always dangerous. When a friendly follower is destroyed, gain 1 armor up to twice per battle. I don't think that's worth 13 batteries. I do think we're likely to buy food. Let's look at the followers first. So I like a stalwart. I like a stalwart for our deck in particular. Destroy a random enemy follower with strength 2 or less. You're pretty fun. Let's hire you and you. A revolutionary is not bad, certainly. The hunter's interesting. It's like the hunter's going to get wounded any battle where you actually use him, but trading a cheap guy for a bigger guy is definitely valuable, and you can just, if you are concerned about maintaining convoy size, you can just use him once and then pull him back out of the deck. I don't know if I'm going to pay 6... we're not going to pay 6 batteries for him, but I don't think that's a bad guy. The real question is, do we want to take on this wounded revolutionary? I think I'm not, because I think we want to spend quite a lot on food here. We probably should not spend 62 on food, but we'll buy the fruits and then leave with 30 batteries left. Because there are food nodes coming. Yeah, I'm fine with that. I think we made some gains there. Okay, an operator will crush you like the fleas you are. Come on, man. Do I look like a flea to you? Do you even know what a flea looks like? Alright, hold on. Let's swap you. And... do we want to... I don't know that we want to make any other changes here. Because we could pull something for the stalwart. Which I mean, I do like the stalwart. Keeper's definitely better, especially with a blessing, but probably just in general. You know what? I would rather have the stalwart than the dozer. Even though there is a cost difference there. It's not a strict upgrade, but definitely a better card. Let's not start with... I can keep those cards, though. Ooh, okay, Union Sapper's interesting. I think I want to play the Explorer first, and then potentially Union Sapper in front of it. We'll see how that goes. But an established Explorer is a big deal. Do we want to do a first turn scrap? I'm gonna hold off. The Restore is fine, not great. that's a problem. Well, now I think we're scrapping the restore. A refresh doesn't really help. Yeah, so do we just take the trade? We might just take the trade. It's certainly not ideal. But we are going to have to deal with that guy. Obviously, next turn we can play a keeper or a stalwart and maintain our dude. So, you know what? We can still do something that's meaningful. If we had no other play that actually accomplished anything with him, I'd probably be a little bit more likely to just take it. To just take the trade. So we might get faced for 3 here. I guess potentially 4 if that guy gets pulled or something. But I think we're okay for now, and we definitely don't want a static charge, because that gives the taunt guy the ability to kill our Union Sapper. Okay, this is fine. Now we totally might static charge if we draw a heal or something. Or we might just shoot that man in the face. Well, they played enough guys that we can get the good version of blockade off here. I think that's what we got to do. And I might just take the trade off the trade of the Union Sapper, because I'm looking at this and thinking we don't really want to leave this much power on the board. We can't do the shot this turn. We can static charge to kill their taunt guy, but that kills my dude anyway. We may as well get the armor, right? Yeah, I think we're just going to take that trade. It's not totally ideal, but now that that has happened, we can use our sniper in the way that we would like to use our sniper. Which is to say, this way. And do we want to scrap? If I was going to scrap, it would have been best to do it before combat, because we could have drawn a bolster. A bolster on the sniper would definitely have been smart. I'm gonna hold off for the moment. No, you know what? We're gonna scrap static charge. The odds of us using static charge are basically nothing. Okay, so if I had done that first, we could have stim shotted. Yeah, that I should have scrapped earlier. I started making decisions before we had all of the information, which is definitely not the way you want to do that. Oh, right, and killing that guy meant I didn't get the good version of them. That's not ideal. Well, let's take... well, actually, we're not going to get either of these because our hand's full. Yeah, killing the guy before playing... I just, mis-sequenced that whole turn. Killing that guy before playing the... our taunter meant we didn't get the extra toughness. Well... I think this turn... I wish we had a cheaper guy in our hand. If I scrap, what are the odds I could draw second damage instance? Not 0, but not great. We do have to do something about that guy. Alright, so then our turn pretty much has to be resolve either Keeper or Stalwart to deal with the 6-3, go to the opponent's face, and then pass. I'm thinking we might want to accept their surrender here. There's a pretty significant risk in continuing the fight that we might they might have a kill spell for our taunt barrier guy, and if they do, a kill or a bounce, then all of a sudden we're looking at 6 points of damage off of that veteran slaver. I'm going to accept their surrender. We don't need the blessing that badly. We can't recruit them because we don't believe, so we have to either let them go or murder them. I'm assuming executing people who have surrendered to you probably lowers your altruist score, but our altruist score isn't very high anyway. I'm kind of curious what this option does. We don't usually accept surrenders, so we haven't gotten to play with this too much. Okay, so we took loot off of them, but we did lose 100% of our altruist points. To be perfectly honest with you, I think that was probably the right call. Alright, so we got a level up, which we are taking. I am not yet familiar with what cards are in this deck. Or what cards are in this leader's archetype, so I'm hoping we can see some cool stuff. I'm a big fan of both Refresh and Porcupine Prana here. I really, really like constructs, especially constructs with taunt and power are super fun, but Refresh is so powerful. I'm going to take the Porcupine Prana. It is probably even better than usual for us to have, effectively, creatures, along with our thing that lets us get a card back from our discard pile. And we need to... Oh, sorry, I should probably edit my deck. What do we want to cut? I think it's the guard. I think guard is by a huge margin the least impactful thing here. I don't think restore is great, but I do think it's more likely to impact the battle than guard is. I don't think secure is great either, but there's a big difference between us, between an effect that is poor and an effect that is poor but gives you a new card. Who doesn't love a cantrip? Okay, lots and lots and lots of food. Wow, that was a lot. Okay, and then we just want to go down this bottom path, right? I think we're in a good position to take advantage of this, and we're not going to run out of hope or food. They want us to pay them. We're going to fight. I think we can afford to get into a fight here. So if we didn't want to play any injured people, we could bring in the Raider and this Dozer. I don't know that I want to play another 5. The power difference between a Dozer and a Savant is fairly significant, though. Yeah, we'll play it like this. And then we would have to take a lot of injuries here in order for us not to come out ahead on the healing node after this. Do I want to start with Static Charge? I think so. Okay, this is one of those experiences, or one of those situations where going second isn't going to start us out behind by too much. We could try to draw a shot, or Mind Seize, both of which would be pretty good here. Or we can just potentially take some damage, but get the Explorer down. I think I wanna establish our Explorer. We may as well go ahead and throw a bolster up. My guess is that Static Charge is going to turn out not being super relevant, but we'll hold it for now. Yep, so we eat 3 damage, but that's not so bad. This would be a really good time to draw Mind Seize. Interesting. I think I am going to scrap the Static Charge. Oh, man. Yeah, very interesting. That guy, them having a bolster for that guy sucks a huge amount. I think we just go ahead and go for this. They don't really have a lot of... like, they're pretty burned on resources already. So I think we can push pretty hard here. We will definitely take the stim shot. I'm way more into healing on our creatures than I am healing on ourselves. If we're actual life restoration, like a campaign level resource, that's definitely more interesting than just armor. Okay. You were going to play enough cards to get there no matter what I did, no matter what cards you didn't have. That's fine. Is it just big 7/7 Savant? It's probably actually bolstered Stalwart, because this gives us way more control of the table. Yeah, but you will find a way to do damage to me no matter what. Alright, so we kill one of you. May as well do that, even though it's probably not ever going to matter because they're unlikely to hit me again. Who knows, they might have another one of those guys. And then we should probably, in this situation, establish the Raider, because 4 damage is a pretty significant number at this moment. Oh, never mind. 2 damage was the significant number. I didn't even notice one of his decks was empty. He's been drawing cards too aggressively. Okay, well I think a blessing on this guy is obviously very good. 5 health lost. That's a single use of healing at the mineral springs, which is fine. We do 1 profit heal and 2 follower heals, and then we're at full. Pretty happy about that. As we took the path through the murky swamp, our scouts noticed a small path leading to a drowned valley. From our high ground, we could see a large broken machine and rows of floating metal frames with plants growing out of them. Parameshwari frowned. This doesn't seem right. All the plants look fine. Wouldn't they have attracted small animals by now? The valley itself didn't seem too deep, although it was impossible to tell with the brown water and vegetation covering it. It certainly wouldn't be too difficult to get the food. So I think we had this event before, and we passed the plants by because there's obviously something wrong here. But we're in a much stronger state than we were then, I think. Let's try it out. Let's see what happens. It's a wound on... Okay. It's fine. Ah, okay, but we are fighting. As we began to wade in, our steps broke the water into a series of ripples. All at once, we saw ripples heading back toward us, and we ran away as a large beast surfaced and snapped, catching Haripriya and wounding them. We managed to pull ourselves back in time before anyone else was hurt, but the beast surged forward, and then we fought a bunch of monsters. So... I don't really want to potentially lose the Explorer. It may well be the case that I'm too concerned about losing people, but even if there are people that we might deem expendable, I don't really think our sniper is one of them. Okay, there is food here. Let's see if we can get a little bit luckier. I'm gonna try to dig for some removal here. I'd feel way more comfortable with some early removal. Okay, I do like early Union Sapper. And this is not a scrap situation. Well, maybe the challenge goes away? No, we'll keep it. Okay, Serrata Glider. Not a great play for them in this moment, unless they have something to deal with my Union Scrapper. Okay, well, I can also do that thing. And then Devoted Guard will, I'm guessing, die. Probably they'll have attack plus something else to trade, but I'll take that 2-for-1. That's okay. It might even just be like a haste guy. Okay, assault. Yeah, we are burning them out of cards pretty quickly here, so I'm actually very okay with that. And Porcupine Prana plus Union Sapper is so good. So it's obviously Keeper. We just go to the opponent's face. This is looking pretty alright for us. I mean, we have lethal here. Even if they kill one of our creatures, we have lethal here. Yeah, sure. I do not actually get the bolster. So we just bless the Sapper. This went pretty straightforward. Oh, hold on. Can we actually do... Okay, I can do this. We should do this. Then refresh you. Then get the kill. We're not going to worry about the other bag of food. Refresh is a super powerful card. Okay, and then we got 14 food. Is that 14 food after the food we got during the fight? I believe it is. Okay, we have nobody who can track very effectively. Let's go ahead and just follow a set of tracks. Okay, 37 meat. Hey, that's pretty good. We have definitely gotten some pretty strong luck here. So, how many wounded do we have exactly? It's 7. I think it's pretty okay to not heal the worker. I will just throw all these guys in here and go 1, 2, 3. Feeling like we're in a pretty good position here. We definitely have some garbage to sell. We have a ton of hope available to us. What does this mace do? The Blackout Blow. Ooh. 14 batteries for once per battle blackout. I will take that. I like that a lot, actually. We definitely don't need to buy the food. And then when we get something that we decide we want better, it turns into a pretty good card. Yeah, this mace is excellent. Things are going really well so far, he said, jinxing himself. Oh, elders who study plants and agriculture. It just so happens I have some expertise to offer you. You only need 3 points if you get that on the first map, huh? That's pretty cool. Okay, what do you have? You have a poison dagger, which I'm not wild about. It's fine. Hey, here's the thing I don't know. Does poison interact with blast in the really powerful way? Does poison make all the points of your blast immediately lethal? Because that would be pretty strong. Obviously not in our deck, but... I don't think we want to spend batteries on any of this stuff. I think we want to hold our batteries. That's a shame. So let's go to this node, and then we have a decision to make about how many of these battles we want to encounter, because we could very easily do 2. Oh, a big fire. Everybody loves a big fire. Let's hit this one, and then we'll figure it out. We will decide. So, who do we want in our deck exactly? We have way too much deck right now. We probably don't want the Dozer. The Dozer's not a bad card, certainly. I don't think we need it. Let's get rid of you. Mendicant. I like a 3-cost 3/4 way more than a 3-cost 4/3, I think. Generally speaking. I actually really like the Outlaw. This is 14 cards. We could afford to play maybe a little more. I will say I still feel very uncertain of what the correct deck size is with the scrap mechanic, making it so much easier to sift your cards. It's definitely not play everything, but we'll go like this. I'm gonna play one more top end card. Okay, we'll go like this. But I don't know what it is, and it's gonna be different battle to battle in a way that unfortunately you're not really gonna have time to interact with, because obviously you can't see what the opponent's deck is prior to battle. The Worker Swarm's less exciting on a 2-column wide. Do we want to play it over Mendicant? I don't think we want to do Porcupine Piranha first. I'm going to stick to the Worker Swarm. We might just end up getting it wounded again, but I think it'll buy some resources out of the opponent's hand, probably. Okay, interesting. That guy might be getting the Blackout Strike. Yeah, I think so. Then we just bolster you, do this, and if they have the trade, they can go for the trade. If they have the kill, they can go for it. And then, do we want to play Porcupine Piranha now? Or do I just want to play my Mendicant? I think Devoted Guard is definitely wrong. If we want a Taunter, we want this Taunter. I think I'm going to make the more aggressive play. We'll put something in front of this, which I think we should probably do. Okay, 3/3 Rage guy is definitely scary. Well, we do have Stalwart. We could scrap something. I would like to see, like, any small removal spell improves our position by so much here, because it allows us to trade off both of their guys really easily. I think I'm gonna scrap for removal. Challenge is actually kind of fun here because it lets us pull this guy and then have him attack in the same turn. You know what? I'm just gonna do that. We're gonna do this. We're gonna have him attack here. Have him attack here. And then just play the Devoted Guard. And next turn we're gonna have to have somebody destroy this rock. But, like, we have a lot of power on the table at this point. And honestly, I think a pretty strong position. Ooh, that guy's serious. Also, Reserves is serious. I was gonna say, there's a lot of cards they could play for free off of that. Yeah, interesting. I think we might want the challenge back, because we could shoot this guy and then have our 3/1 challenge, and then yeah, that'll work, because we have enough damage to kill their 0/4. So we do this to move you forward. You guys work together to kill him. We shoot you and attack you with 3/1, and sadly that does not leave me with the resources to play many other things. I'll just secure, I guess? Let's bolster you. That way, if they have another 0-4 taunt, we have a way of dealing with it with just one guy. Okay. It was bound to happen eventually. Oh, that's an interesting card. Wow, that's really powerful. Outlaw was a pretty fun draw. What a good moment for an outlaw. Yeah, okay. I realized after I played it, after I had dragged it up, I was like, wait a second, does it say random follower or random enemy follower? But, okay, good. And then we just dome you and play a stalwart. I guess, I was thinking, well, stalwart's just straight better than scavenger savant. Why would we play this here? But honestly, it might have been right to play this so that we could get it blessed. Although, if we're looking at lethal off the creatures we have here, I think I would want the blessing on this guy, right? Alright, let's see here. Did we draw... We did not draw removal. We try to go get some. Obviously, I'm not wild about Mind Seize in this situation, so we can have our 5/6 eat their 4/4. And then... I think we have to do that. And then we just kill him, right? Because refresh is bananas. Yeah, this guy with an extra point of power is, like, actually terrifying. And we've taken on some... Okay! Our deck is very good at dealing at, like, playing big creatures and keeping them alive and active. These, I think all three of those are fantastic additions. Very happy to see it. Alright, let's level up again, see if we get a cool card. This one. Stone Chakra. I think it's gotta be the Stone Chakra, right? Okay, so we're definitely construct heavy. There are a number of pieces of equipment that really reward you for being construct heavy. So do we want to take on another battle before the boss fight? We certainly have the resources to travel the extra node. It's just a matter of whether I want to power up. I think we have to try to power up as much as possible. Of course, with these doomed boss fights, some of them are very difficult, so there is some danger that we will wound ourselves badly enough to make the coming battle too difficult. We'll just hope that that's not the case. Oh, also, I have a point of focus. I could drop a bolster. Static Charge hasn't been super good for us so far, but with our creatures being larger than the opponent, there are definitely situations where Static Charge will be a blowout, particularly against beasts and stuff. So I'm inclined to think we want to keep it. I might drop Restore. Stim Shot is definitely a better card on the whole. Bolster is more interesting the more healing you have, so like removing... I'm thinking Bolster over a heal, but really you kind of want to keep both of them. We certainly don't want to drop Challenge. Challenge is great, Mind Seize is great. I think it ends up being either the Static Charge or the Restore, and I do think we should cut one of them. Let's drop the Static Charge. We're going to commit to our linear here. Again, not cutting cards because they're bad, cutting cards because we want our good cards more consistently. Okay, well this is a little bit of a scary situation. Got a lot of guys who are not good survivors. Oof, alright. I'll take that. I think that's an okay... Like, our whole turn for his whole turn at this point in the game is probably okay for us. We could play Machine Guard, set up an autocannon in this row and have it gun down the food and then maybe some other stuff. But Crashjacker Crashjacker hits for such a large portion of his total health. I think I'm going to play the Crashjacker, and then we'll play Machine Guard next turn, and it'll be... That's probably the worst possible place I could have played it. I was just thinking, oh, I was going to play in the top row, so let's do that. But, like, I had two halves of two different thoughts there. Because now it's harder for us to play the autogun across from the food, right? Okay. Well, this isn't so bad. And then we shoot you, and then we have a Union Sapper. This is actually seems alright. Seems like an alright situation. And honestly, I'm not thinking I want to scrap any of this. You know what? Let's scrap the Crash Jacker. We're getting toward our higher cost stuff. Let's look for something a little more impactful. We failed, but we could have drawn something more impactful. Alright, so he's going to trade. We might be able to kill that Pariah if we top deck something. That's a shame. Oh, right. Except we can't. I gotta remember to try to have fewer cards in hand. Well, we could scrap something. We're very unlikely to be able to target that guy. We're probably better off just bolstering and attacking him directly. Right, like, bolster... Do I want to double bolster? Because this is going to leave my guy at 4-1. So we're gonna play the Machine Guard. So we don't need the extra... Yeah, we don't need the extra energy. I think this is reasonable. Machine Guard here with the intention of playing the autogun behind it. Okay, that's a shame. He's got, there's so much removal in this game, just in general. Interesting. Well, challenge is pretty good here. Just give our 2-5 taunt. Makes their lives a little bit awkward. It's like, shoot you, play the autogun to start whittling the food down. And then we have to ask ourselves, do we want to trade the barrier for doing 2 damage to this guy, or do I just want to attack the enemy leader? Oh, strength 2 or... Yeah. Duh, what we do is we play Outlaw. And then I think there's a pretty good chance we want to play Challenge at some point. We may as well just do it now. Okay, I'm feeling alright about this situation. I love Outlaw. What a good card. What a good tempo, man. Ah, that's a shame. Honestly, it's not that bad. That's worse. Okay, so you have definitely complicated the situation. Refresh does allow you to have a guy you just played attack. So we could play Blockade, refresh it, and then swing it into the 5-4 to trade our barrier for their large creature. It doesn't give us an easy way of dealing with 3-2. I think I'm going to scrap Secure rather than playing it, because I'm trying to reserve some amount of... Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, let's just play Stone Chakra. How about that? Where do we want to play it, though? Because obviously here it's pretty hard for us to have multiple people benefit from it. But here I would have to play in front of something. Yeah, this is the spot. So we play Stone Chakra, Blockade. And then just trade my 3-2 for their 3-2 to ensure that they can't do... Because I'd rather keep Blockade healthy than this guy, I think? Yeah. And, like, I honestly might even still play that guy while wounded. It's actually a pretty powerful card with a wound on it. Okay, Conscript is a probably irrelevant guy. Wow, you sure do have exactly every card that you need all of the time. Alright, food for me. And then... And blacking this guy out doesn't really help that much. It just makes him a 5-3, which is still actually very dangerous. So we play... We play our Porcupine Prana... And... That's tricky. 5-3's tough. Mind Seize would be pretty good here, but we can't guarantee that we'll draw it. We could scrap into... Boy. Every card in my deck is better than Devoted Guard. You know what we need is just somebody with 4... Do we have somebody with 4 power and barrier available? No. So I'm thinking we could play Keeper and Refresh and attack this guy. That doesn't actually solve anything. Wait, that's not exactly true. No, never mind. I was going to say, if we play Keeper, Refresh it, attack, and then play Porcupine Prana in front of it, so he has to attack the Porcupine Prana while he has 1 health, that'll do it. I guess blacking him out is the way we have to go here. So yeah, it has to be Big Keeper, refreshed, black this dude out, which unfortunately removes his revenge thing, but also lets me actually get this kill. And does this... Okay, this only works when somebody joins the battle as a neighbor, so moving this guy to here wouldn't give him the effect. Now our opponent's on total top decks, and if he continues to always have exactly what he needs, I'm going to be very annoyed. Alright, that was not bad. So, with him only having 2 power, I kind of don't even care about him, right? Like, I think we just disregard him and go to the face. We probably shouldn't just ignore him. I guess I'm only losing 2 damage by doing this. Play you, and then we'll get a nice big Scavenger Savant and a Porcupine Prana. Okay. In this case, we have no real reason to accept a surrender. Right, we have victory on the table in a way that I think is going to be really hard for him to stop. A little worried that he wants to go back to 9 energy. Okay. He didn't need to, he just felt like it would be fun. Well, in that case, congratulations on your blessing, sir. Ooh, Force Shield. When a follower with 6 or more life joins your side, they lose -1/-1, but gain barrier. That seems pretty alright for us, actually. I mean, obviously, I don't like the loss of power. Life 6 or more. Who does that affect? Is there a person on whom that's a big problem? It'll affect the Scavenger Savant and the Stalwart, and that's it. You know what, that's fine. And the Dozer, who we're probably going to have to play because we're very wounded. All right, if we don't want to play anybody who might die, this is what our deck looks like. I think we've got considerable power here still. But maybe we do run the Gorilla Fighter? Just because he's basically a removal spell, right? We might also run the Outlaw for the same reason. And, like, it would be a shame if they died, but we'll just try to play them carefully. We found some people who have taken losses. Yeah, of course we help them. 3 altruist points and a defense drone. When you scrap a card, a random friendly follower heals 1 damage. Replenish is interesting. We're definitely just going to equip this, though. Alright, and then we fight. Having another fight jammed in here totally sucks. We really need there not to be more fighting. I think I'm just gonna keep. It's entirely possible our outlaw dies during this battle. But, like, this is a good situation, right? Okay, so he's doing a lot of nothing, which is nice. So let's just do that. And I'm going to play the Outlaw in the open. I guess I'm not really, because we need to have a place to play this Raider. Okay. I'm feeling like that's a pretty strong open. Oh, you know, I didn't scrap there because I like our cards, but I gotta remember that scrapping does heal in the situation we're in now, so there are definitely situations where that's going to be a smarter move. How do we want to deal with you? I mean, obviously we got some bolsters and stuff. This could be double bolster on the Union Sapper and Shot, but that seems a little silly. It's probably just... well, double bolster on the Union Sapper gives us enough damage. It would make him a 4-1. No, 4-2 after all the damage is resolved. That's not terrible, honestly. What does this do? Heal all neighboring followers by 2? I'm not concerned about that at all. Yeah, let's do that. Well, I guess if I only do a single bolster here, then I get to play the Dozer too, which is maybe a little bit more significant. Like we do this attack to open space, drop Dozer in it, and then we may as well move you down to here and you can start attacking that tree. And I'm going to scrap... I don't really want to scrap this guy. He could be super relevant, actually. No, I'm not going to scrap. For the random point of healing, I think all of our cards are too potentially relevant. So... right, I wasn't thinking about that effect again. We're not really getting a ton of benefit from it. Well, we know we're going to do this. Just go ahead and do that. So, Keeper with Refresh is too expensive. We cannot use Challenger to give enemy characters taunt, unfortunately. We can use Challenge to just drop somebody behind the tree and then pull them in front of it, the way the enemy's always doing. So we could use Shot and Bolster to allow us to... Actually, I like this a lot. Shoot the 2-4. Take that. Bolster you to get this guy. Which lets me swing for 5 to the opponent's face, which I think I like a lot. And then... oh, right, I already did the attack. Do we want to scrap something to try to find something worth playing? Like, maybe it is worth, at this point, dropping the Guerrilla Fighter? I kind of like holding the Guerrilla Fighter, though. Like, if they play something with Taunt, I'll want to be able to get rid of it efficiently, and we're running low on real removal. We could just, at this point, play Refresh. Yeah, alright. In the interest of being energy efficient with our plays, let's just dome that guy again. Okay, that's a problem. Also, removal is sad. Like, we really need to not have people dying. Ooh, Mind Seize is a bad play here. Do we have a bolster in our deck still? We have a Shot. So Shot's a kill. Oh no, Shot's not a kill. We're sorry, we don't actually have 7. No, we totally do, because we could pull this guy. So let's try to draw into Shot. That's a shame. Although, this is pretty good. So if we go... to... nah, this is a little tricky, huh? The problem here is we can't... if we use Challenge to pull this guy in front of the tree and attack for 7 and then play Porcupine Prana with the plan of having the... armor damage kill the opponent at the start of our turn, we definitely lose our 2-1. So let's just play Keeper. And go to the opponent's face with all these guys. Keeper's just gotta do the job, right? Okay, that's not a big deal. Also not a big deal as long as they don't have a way of killing it. Okay. Cool, we're good. Who wants a blessing? You probably want the blessing. So we did take a wound we kind of can't afford to have taken there, but we're probably just going to keep that Raider in. And honestly, a Raider's a considerably better card when wounded. For sure. At the start of your turn, fully heal all your followers with Taunt, and it's a construct that has Taunt and Power. I think we have to. I think we have to take that. That would be... I mean, it's so much in our linear, right? And it's potentially going to be really powerful, especially like with Stone Chakra, we generate followers that are super tough, and then the Flint Heart Sign doesn't even strain when doing its effect. That's very good. So, do we cut a card now, is the question. Is the average card quality of our deck worth the inconsistency that we create by not cutting stuff? Maybe. I mean, at some point we probably end up cutting the Secure. Even though it's a cantrip, just like, we don't always have the 2 energy for it. I'm certainly not feeling myself wanting to play it very often. I think I'm going to hold off for now. Because I'm uncertain. And we're probably just going to end the episode right now. Like, we don't need to go into a boss fight 66 minutes into the episode, probably. This will be where we stop for today. Thank you all so much for watching. Come back next time, tomorrow, when hopefully we beat this first boss and then embark on both our most powerful Doomed run to date, and also maybe the one where we end up getting the furthest. So I think we could be further than we've ever been before, about 15 minutes into tomorrow's video, potentially. So come back next time for that, and we'll see you then.